Hey friends, my name's Lisa if you haven't met, and if we have, welcome back to my pottery studio. I am very glad you're here today. I've got the day to spend in the studio and wanted to give you an update on some things, and I have a goal. My goal today is to try to throw a donut vase. I don't know if you've ever seen a donut vase before. I'm sure you have. I'll put a picture of one here. I've never done it. I've always seen it done, and it seems pretty reasonable, I think, but let's see if I can. That'll be today's goal. And before we jump into that, I wanted to give you a little update on the other happenings around here. I've still been in the midst of a glazing process, a lot of glazing that I wanted to get done. I haven't made a ton of progress. Life has just been very lifey lately. So, but anyway, I get to work on some of that today. I do have the kiln, the fireplace area done. So I'm gonna walk you over and show you that because that was a lot of work and I really love how it came out. Okay, so come with me. This was a multi-weekend project to get the fireplace. I call it my fireplace. I have a mirror so I can see when I've got clay on my face. I got this beautiful green tile all done and I got all the grout done. I put a little mantle on it just to make it kind of look like it's an actual fireplace even though it's not. And then got the kilns kind of back in place. So I've also been slowly working on getting more of my mugs glazed, so particularly these ones that have the more detailed stained glass effect. So I have one bear done. This afternoon I'm hoping to do the glaze on another bear, and I'm going to test a different kind of style with the glazes for that. And then what I'd like to do is get those two mugs in the kiln along with those test tiles. If you watched my last video where we mixed some glaze together, I have those tiles still that I need to fire. And depending on how those glazes come out, it might change how I want to glaze the rest of these pieces. So I have a bunch of stuff over here still that I haven't really decided what to do with or how to glaze them. But depending on how those glaze tests come out, it might change what I want to do or might influence what I want to do over here. So hoping to get some throwing done, get some glazing done, and get a few things in the baby kiln and get that fired all today. So if that sounds interesting to you, I hope you stick around. First things first is to get some clay wedged. Previous Lisa did not wedge herself some clay. That's okay. Also, if you're interested in getting a cool Melting Cones t-shirt, they are live on my website. The link is in the description below. And for those of you that have ordered a t-shirt, thank you so much. It means the world to me. It's just kind of one of the most flattering ways to support me and all that. So I hope you love them. I think maybe I miss my calling because I love designing t-shirts now. I had no idea. I have another one that I'm working on that says the Tortured Potters Department. I'm testing it out. I'm testing it, but I'm totally gonna make that available to you too if you want one. Okay, well, so the cool thing is the projects that I'm working on today are the things that I want to throw. They don't need to be very consistent, so I'm not really going to measure out too specifically. Take my watch off. But since I've never done this before, I think I'll start with a smaller amount, make a smaller donut vase, and then try to do a bigger donut vase, depending on how that goes. I don't know. What is this? Is this 3 pounds? I think 3 pounds seems like a reasonable amount. So I'm going to put some plastic over this bisqueware, otherwise I'm going to like splatter clay on it. Okay, I have a bunch of clay ready to go. After wedging on my table for a little bit, I don't know if you've been following along, you know that I rebuilt a wedging table and I put it on a sit-stand desk. And it works pretty well. I mean, the desk is holding up fine, but it does move, like it walks on me, so I might need to figure out a solution for that. Plug. I found at Hobby Lobby this little mirror on a stand, and it was in the section for like wedding stuff, and it had like writing on it, but I just took a little razor and scraped it off. And now I've got a perfect little throwing mirror. I'll start with just like a couple pound ball of clay for my first ever donut vase. I think this is going to be a fun challenge because it involves throwing like a two-side ball. Oh, I don't know how to explain it. We'll just get into it. It'll be easier to show you as we go. So. Having a mirror is quite nice. Look at that. Progress. All right, so to throw a donut vase, I think what we need to do is I'm going to flatten this disc out. I've got it centered mostly. I'm thinking I don't really know what I'm doing. But I'm going to open this up all the way to the wheel head. And start pulling out. So it's kind of like throwing just a hollow cylinder at first here. So it's like opening up, you just don't have a bottom. If anyone has thrown these or is a master donut vase thrower, hit me up in the comments. Send me your tips and tricks. All right, pretty early on, we've got a donut shape. I mean, but of course we don't want a solid clay circle. We don't want a solid donut because that would be heavy. So I'm gonna take a second and just like try to clean up on the inside here. So what we're gonna try to do is open right here and create two separate walls and then pull those walls up, right? I think that's what we do. So let me see if I can give myself a little bit of a trough there. And I'm just gonna use my my index finger, supporting it with this hand, just so I can try to go smoothly down. I have my sponge in my hand too here, just to give myself a little water as I need it. And now on this side, as we drop in, we don't want to go all the way to the bottom, obviously. And effectively now we've got two walls. All right, that worked out pretty easily. That wasn't too bad. I might use my pin tool here and just see how much I've got in the bottom. So I've got about, that's maybe like 1/2 inch, which I'm gonna leave it. I think, so I wanna pull up each wall and then try to close them together. I think it's gonna be easier to do the inside wall first. And I wanna try to keep on the inside and there, I wanna try to keep that nice and rounded. So I'm kind of, let's see, I've got my finger under it. Just gonna try to use my tippy top fingers. Try to pull that up a little bit more. It's a little hard. You're used to like your outside hand having like all of your fingers involved, but that's hard to do with this other wall here. So you really only got what you have with your fingertip there. Now I'll come to the outside, and this is also tricky now because I can't like stick my hand in all the way. I've only got like, you know, a couple fingers I can get in the middle of this trough here. Trying to give myself a little ridge under on this outside wall. There's plenty of clay there, you just gotta get it. Come on, there we go. Getting some height there. All right, now I don't wanna close it yet. I wanna, ultimately I'm gonna try and pinch these together. Wow, this is gonna be a really fat donut. I could have opened up wider with this amount of clay, so that's okay, now we know. But let's make sure we're not trapping too much moisture the inside of our donut. We want to try to come over. Not actually sure how to close these up now. So I think we want to roll this over. Wow, you run out of room for your finger real quick there. Just start kind of teasing them together. So it's really like we're trying to do it's a closed form. I think it's happening. I think it's gonna happen. Trying not to be too aggressive. But at some point, they're just gonna have to kiss. It's just gonna have to kiss. Come on. And then I'm hoping, ooh, look at that. Okay. Still cautiously optimistic. Once you get air trapped in there, I assume it's gonna be like any other closed form where you have a lot of kind of ability to manipulate it on the outside. Look at that. That wasn't too bad at all. Oh, these are kind of fun, guys. These are kind of fun. So it's going to take a bit of trimming on the bottom, but we've got, shoot, look at that. That sealed up really, really easily. You guys can do this, I promise. This is not hard. I mean, it might not be the first project you want to start with, but okay. So now that I've got this, obviously the bottom side is flat because it's on the bat. I'm going to try and take off as much clay as I can on the edge here, like on that part. From the top down, it looks nice and rounded and flat, but looking in the mirror, it looks like this could actually be a little bit better. So let me tweak that. I think a lot of the like perfecting is going to have to be at the trimming stage, but I do want to see if I can get a little bit of this away. So ideally I want it to be like just a tube, you know, like a whole tube that goes around like that. But I don't want it, I want it to be even. I think I want to push this down a little bit more is all I'm really getting at with that. So that when I trim, so what I'm thinking about right now is like when I do flip it over and trim it, I know I've only got a certain amount of clay on the bottom side. And so I don't want it to be like uneven. And so I'm actually making the side of this donut a little bit straighter because it's just going to be a little bit taller, a little bit thicker. And so my first donut vase might look more like a wheel vase, like a car tire, but it'll at least be even, you know, at least be like consistent. So I think that worked out pretty well. All right, I'm just going to wire it off. And let's do another one. And lessons learned on that one, I think it's just I made the walls taller than I needed to, and that's why it's going to be like more of a tire than a donut. Maybe it is a perfect donut. All right. That feels very, very good. Let's do it again. Oh, so what I was going to tell you is I think I have an opportunity, not confirmed yet, but I saw invitations to participate in a wood fire that's happening end of next month. I've never done a wood fire before. I've been an oxidation functional pottery girl pretty much forever. I have done some raku workshops and stuff like that in the past, just for fun, but I've never fired in a wood kiln. I've never even actually seen a wood kiln in real life. And so I'm pretty excited to see if I can get some stuff in there and participate. It looks like they have volunteers that you have to like stoke the fire on a wood kiln for like 24 hours to keep the temperature up. And I always thought that wood kilns fired to like cone 10, and I didn't really think I could do that because I'm a cone 6er and my clay wouldn't hold up. But no, they said it goes up to like cone 7 or 8, which I actually think my clay and glazes will hold up just fine if fired that hot. But I've never seen any of the glazes that I've formulated in a reduction. So that would be very cool. And I think they actually I think it's more like a soda or salt firing too. So they inject or like shoot sodium into the kiln, and that causes some cool effects. Anyway, I'm gonna reach out. If I can get in and they allow it, I'll definitely record the experience for you and show you. But all that to say, I wanna have some pieces to go into the kiln. I mean, I have some bisque pieces now I could reserve or set aside, but what I want to do is just throw some really basic cylinders and glaze them with all my different glazes. And then if they come out looking like crap, and it's just a cylinder, it's not that big a deal. If they come out looking really cool, then I can maybe go to the wood lathe and put on some pretty wood and create a lid for them, and then have a really cool reduction fired wood lid canister. Oh, you know what I did? So this is rattling on me, and I do this every time I think. I get my batmate ready, and then I forget to put it on. If you don't have one of these bat mates, I'm telling you, I have them linked below. They're awesome, and they keep your bat from rattling around. Anyway, so after I play around with some donuts, I'm just gonna throw some really basic cylinders. Long story short, but I'm super excited. I think it could be really fun. And I don't know any other potters in the area, so it'll be a chance to maybe meet some more people, some more like-minded friends. You guys are my pottery friends. All my online friends, you guys are what I got. But it could be fun to have some local folks too. So far what I've learned, just to recap, the taller your walls are, the more of like a tire shape you're gonna get than a donut shape. Although I still think I have a pretty good donut over there, but I'm gonna be cautious on this one not to pull the walls too tall, because I'd actually like a bigger donut, but like skinnier. I'm going for a bigger, skinnier donut this time. But it also means getting a lot of clay to go from the center to the out. So I'm looking at the outside edge and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of liking this size. I think for this amount of clay, I can kind of get this diameter of a donut. So several exciting things. So the end of this month, I get to go to Nsika. If anyone's going to Nsika, I'd love to meet you. If you see me, please don't hesitate to catch me and say hi. Very excited to see what that's all about. I'll probably come home and want to purchase like a whole bunch of new equipment. But it should be fun. I plan on documenting that too. So for anyone that hasn't gone before, well, I haven't gone before, but for anyone that isn't going or wants to see what it's all about, I plan to video it as much as I can, at least. I know in the sessions, that would be rude to record any of the sessions, and they probably don't want you to do that. But I'll just, maybe the expo floor and just the general conference stuff. I'll try to give you a look at what that's like. I'm doing better on this one, having a skinnier tube. But it is gonna be harder to pull the walls. And this one, I got the outside wall a little bit taller than the inside one. But let's see if we can still bring them together. I'm hoping to lay it over so it just like sits right down on top there. Maybe I'll pray at 6. Many of you in my kind of tips and tricks video said that you've never prayed at 6 o'clock. And if you haven't watched that video, you can go back and watch it. But this is effectively praying at 6 o'clock. And it's what I often do for the first pull, just to get clay to kind of come up. In this case, I'm just trying to get it to come up and down. And look at that. All right, I'm going to go over it a bit just to make sure we have a real good seal there. Feeling pretty good. I'm looking in the mirror. I've got quite the dome going on. That was unintended, but I wonder if I can kind of get this back into more of a, excuse me. Now that that air is trapped in there, I'm wondering if I can even come up from underneath. I'm gonna do a little bit more shaping. A little bit more shaping, but I like it. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. I'm gonna take off this excess now. Using my new mirror, I love it. I love this. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Y'all should be throwing with mirrors if you're not already. I know I'm late to the game on that one. I'm late to the party. This is an uber skinny one now. This one isn't gonna be very functional because there'd be nowhere really to put. I almost made it too skinny now because I think, you know how you see these things, they sit up on the end, right? And then I'm gonna put a little spout in the top, and then you could potentially put branches in on either side, but this one's not gonna be very functional. I'm gonna have to figure out something else to do with it. We're gonna try again. It needs to be wider, thinking about it. All right, it could still be decorative. And this time, we're gonna be thinking fat donut, okay? Fat donut. I don't know why, but that seam the seam on this one is a little bit more persnickety. A little bit more like, wants to keep showing up. I don't know. My concern with this one is I don't know if that seam is just going to open up again as it dries. I feel like that's a real possibility. The other two closed up. The seam closed really quite nicely. This one is like, just keeps making its way. And it's got a big lump in it. So, I don't know. This one's all in all, it was very promising, and now it's rather disappointing. And somehow I've lost the size that I had before too. If I can persuade it into being a good donut. No. Oh, it's not worth fighting anymore. Start anew. Okay. Third donut vase didn't pan out, but I'm not ready to give up yet, so I'm going to try and do one more. Here we go. Okay, I'm glad I did that. I ended on a positive note. The thing I need to do next is I want to throw the little spouts, because I'm going to attach a spout on the top of the donut, just like you saw in that kind of picture in the beginning. So I'm going to throw a bunch of those off the hump just so I have a variety to choose from when I go to attach them. So let's do that next. What would be ideal is if the spout, the curve, like the hips on the spout, actually were very proportional to the curve of the donut itself. I'm not sure if oh, dang it. I'm not sure if I have the talent to do that as I ruin it. I'm cutting under it twice, so I do one cut, which is where I want the actual base of the spout, and then another cut, and that just so is when my fingers pick it up, if I dent it, that little piece is going to peel off anyway. Deform it too much, just moving it over to the... I have a really big one, I have a really fat one. I might have 3 perfect ones, I don't know, but I'm going to throw a couple more. I didn't get my cylinders that I was going to throw today thrown, but I'm feeling successful. So I'm going to stop on the wheel for now. Kind of cleaned up, and we'll come back, maybe throw some cylinders tomorrow for the wood fire, potential wood fire opportunity. So I can say that making the donut vase really, it's a good challenge. It's a good challenge. A little tricky, but I totally think you can do it. I mean, give it a try. Why not? I realize the true privilege that I have in a sink with warm water. I want you all to know that I've done the whole garage bucket water system thing, no access, no using the hose. They're hard days. If you're in those days, I understand. A sink is absolutely a luxury. So on this day, I had a little bit more gas left in the tank. So I did spend a little bit of time finishing the surface design for these bear mugs and getting those glazed. I also realized I wasn't going to have quite enough of my matte white glaze to dip these mugs, so I did batch and mix up another 1,000-gram batch of that white glaze to do the dipping. So I was feeling pretty good. I got most of my goals accomplished. Actually, I got all my goals accomplished for this day. I got the donut vases thrown, I got these mugs fully glazed, and a small kiln load started. Hey friends, so it is the next day. The kiln has cooled and I pulled my pieces out, and I don't know. I don't really like how my bears came out. Let me show you. The first one, this is kind of what he ended up looking like. This is why I should have just tested the design on a small plate first before I did it on a really nice good mug. But I guess I was overconfident. I'm just not loving the blue. It was inspired by the blue bear that's outside the Denver Convention Center. If you've ever seen that, that was kind of the inspiration for him. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the size or the color. I'm just not loving it. I do love the mug shape. It's one of my favorite mug shapes. Also, I had a little bit, must have had a little bit of wax on the back that I didn't see. So that's kind of... The other one, I had an issue with my black underglaze, and you can see that the lines didn't really come out very vibrant and almost look like, yeah, I don't know, it just didn't. Kind of a bummer. As far as the glaze tests, now if you followed along in the previous video when I was mixing some glazes and showing you how I mix glazes, you'll know that I was trying to see if I could recreate these two glazes that I had come across at some point during my testing adventures that have this cool brown like streaking effect. And unfortunately, I was not successful. So you can see the one that I just fired is here side by side, and it does not have that cool brown streaking look that I was trying to get, I was hoping to get. It's still a lovely color though, and I might do some research and see some other tests I can try to run to try to get this again. But it might have just been that these ones that came out really cool just weren't mixed very well, or it could also be that the kiln fired. This kiln fired a very hot cone. Well, it's probably a cone 7 is what I ended up getting to. So it could have been that some of that effect maybe doesn't hold up at a little bit higher temperature. Anyway, I'll do some more testing, but that was kind of a fail. And then the last thing that I wanted to do was try to create a matte glaze that was going to be a nice almond color, and you can see I ended up getting like a robin's egg blue. So that's chemistry for you. I'm glad I tested it. It was a theory that would work, but the two glazes that I was testing, the matte glaze and the glossy glaze that I have that I added the same colorant to, had different base fluxes and stuff. So it's not surprising that I didn't get what I wanted. All in all, I'm just kind of disappointed with how that kiln came out, but it's okay. It happens. It's part of the process. Always more fun things to try though. I did work on another dragonfly mug off camera, and that's about ready to dip. And then I do have this monarch butterfly mug that I'm pretty excited about. I have done this design before and I feel good about this one. So it's not an experiment. It is on a cool shape mug that I'm kind of excited about. So I'm going to check on the donut vases, see where we're at. So I just put these under plastic. Still wet enough that it's kind of holding on to the bat, but I think we can get it up. Okay, cool. All right. This is probably about ready to trim. Hopefully maybe you can see my vision. So it would sort of sit like this, and then would have a little spout on it like that. And then you could put like a sprig of a dried floral or something in it like that. That's kind of what I'm going for. I think that I will need to slice off the bottom to give a flat edge and put a base to it. Let's see what the other ones look like. Now this one, I think I said as I was throwing it, it was probably not going to be very useful or very functional. It is a donut. See if I can get it off the bat. Here we are. So you can imagine this guy trying to sit that. Maybe I could still put a spot on. I just feel like I don't think that's going to look very good. So next time I'd keep them probably shorter and fatter. Or if you do go wider like this is a good diameter, but I would just use a lot more clay so I could have it like a thicker donut. I might try to do something fun with that, a little bit, maybe more sculptural. Let's see. Oh, this guy's still too soft. I don't want to try to pop him off. I'm going to deform it, but well, I think I'm going to give these a little bit more time before I trim them and attach the little spouts and do whatever it is I'm going to do with this guy. Who knows? Maybe we'll do something kind of fun and sculptural with that, but I think this is where I'm going to leave you for today, and I will record the footage of trying to put these together for the next video. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing and maybe hit that bell notification. You'll see when that video goes up. But I really appreciate you hanging out with me today. I appreciate you being here. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.